I don't have everything in mind, so maybe I can come back.
Don't worry, it's...
We'll do the double check.
Yeah. Well, Prime Minister, between tax incentives, friendly and hardworking people, and tropical climate, the Pacific Islands are a great place for investors around the world. In your opinion, what are the biggest assets and untapped potential that Vanuatu has to offer international investors over the rest of the Pacific Islands?
So can you be more precise or clear?
The question, so in your opinion, Prime Minister, what do you think that are the biggest assets and untapped potential that Vanuatu has to offer international investors over the rest of the Pacific Islands? The competitive advantages, and what do you think is the potential of Vanuatu?
Well, I do think that Vanuatu, by its culture, its people, its languages, and its geographical location, its environment, it's the best place for foreign investors to come, because we are mostly welcome to do any business without sea, on the air, and on land. So we almost welcome.
Yeah, we can say Vanuatu.
Yes, this is Vanuatu. So when I say by its cultures, because maybe Vanuatu is one of the countries that continue to attach strong relationship to its tradition. It's living its tradition, inspired that it is open to the world. You want to also education, but you want to keep its traditional Melanesian values. And they are living with, as even in the rural areas. Maybe it's this culture makes that Vanuatu become in its uniqueness, even within the Melanesian country and even in the Pacific. The people are always welcome, kind, smiling, and very friendly, as you can see by yourself in the streets and in the villages. They can approach you at any time to ask what. We even welcome you to have a water, to have a fruit with them. So they almost welcome anyone, and you can speak to volunteers. They are maybe the most experienced people, volunteers from Peace Corps, volunteers from France, volunteers from Japan, who are working even into the villages and remote villages, and they know. They can tell you by themselves the reality of friendly people. And maybe because of that, Vanuatu has been selected maybe 4 times already to be one of the happiest places in the world. So let's make the uniqueness of Vanuatu.
Great, we can see it.
Yes, really,
Totally.
that's true.
Prime Minister, during your first Independence Day address, you announced the 2016 theme for independence, recovering the nation together for a new awakening for the Republic of Vanuatu. What are your key priorities in order to foster this new awakening in meaningful areas such as economic development and employment creation?
And before we speak about development creation or economic growth, I believe that we have some key things that we must have in place. And this is why I call for unity, I call for solidarity. I call also for resilience, because we get our independence, so we must be independent, and we must have this unity and solidarity. We do have politically, in government level, in provincial level, in area council or villages, who can move forward. And it's the reason why we call for unity. And the second thing that I call for, and it is part of our priorities, the political reform. but this is already undertaken
Mhm.
so that we can restore political stability in the country. I think a big example in the world is China,
Mhm.
that have the largest population in the world with one political party.
Mhm.
But Vanuatu is not in the same status because it has been, Vanuatu has been colonized by two democratic countries in the world, England and France, and we learn a lot from them. But myself, uh, it is my personal point of view, but we are abusing what we call freedom and democracy by creating a lot of political parties, and if we leaders do not take our responsibility to get together for the best interests of this country and for the people, to create a stable environment for economic development. That's what our people want. If we don't do it, then you must do it by legislations. So this is the reason why we are undertaking consultation, and consultation have been done. We are waiting for the other committee in Parliament to propose in the Parliament for some changes, especially to target some key issues. One is to regulate political parties, to create a mechanism in the Constitution so that we can legislate on political parties. The second thing is to set some grace period in the Constitution, not to avoid motion of non-confidence. I'm not doing that for me, no, for the country.
For the country.
Yeah. But for me, I don't care about it. It is my fifth time in Parliament, so I experienced two snap elections. So I go through that two snap elections that I experienced. So it is not for me. I'm more Democrat, but I welcome what is can happen democratically, because we have to change. If our government is not working, we must have some provisions. But the grace period must not stop that the government can stay 4 years. No, you have to allow some period. But you can challenge the government if it is not working or if it is doing something bad. We cannot continue. We must allow space. If a government is not working, you can change it. But the way we experienced in the past, we just changed the government for the sake of change the government because I want to be a minister. But there's no real reason. So, because our leaders maybe it is more related to education, but maybe many members of parliament are not educated to be. I understand we have responsibility as selective people, and if we don't do it, we must do it by way of legislation, so by way of amendment of the Constitution to regulate their behavior. So that's the first thing. Soon we get this, I believe we can work for any economic development. Soon we have political stability. We can plan for long term, and we can realize, we can have time to realize it. I still believe that Vanuatu is a small country with 300,000 population. And every 300 population should enjoy life. It's a very small population. We have resources. I don't say that we have huge resources, but little resources we have. We have better sharing with management. Everyone can enjoy services. Services can go back to the people who are expecting for many years, because this is a small population. Well, the other difficulty is that Vanuatu is crowded. It's an island, it's an archipelago, so it is more difficult to manage it when it is an island, because we are surrounded by sea. You want to create a school, you have to build a school in each island, because you have an issue of distance and transport. So it requires the government to open the school in each area. In some islands, Obrigado.